All right, let's kick this off. Thank you all for joining me today. I have a short presentation, and we're going to be sharing a candidate engagement framework. I'm hoping it's something that you can borrow, build out further, or really just use as a starting point if you're looking to get internal buy-in. I am going to leave the chat open throughout, but I'll have my screen minimized, so I'll go back and forth. Feel free to ask questions and share thoughts throughout. I also have a few polls and prompts to get you thinking today. Hopefully that you're not too shy and will interact with me. I'm really hoping for this session that we'll be bouncing ideas off of one another. And we will be sending the slides and the recording out to everyone who has registered for the event today. So again, thank you for joining me. Who am I? What are we doing today? My name's Michelle Amold. I lead employer engagement strategy at Parker Dewey. You may be familiar with Parker Dewey already. For those of you who are not, at our core, we help companies make more confident early career hiring decisions. We do that by engaging students in real work. So instead of relying on resumes or surface level signals, teams get insights on skills, motivation, and fit well before a hiring decision. Today, we're primarily talking about what happens after a candidate accepts and how your team can both continue to create and understand candidate engagement signals before day one. Take a deep breath. We should all take a deep breath. I want you to close your eyes and go to your happy place. Career fair chaos just wrapped. You wrangled applicants and hiring managers and schedules. You whittled down shortlist after shortlist. And you got your next great intern, and they said yes. Everybody feels great. And then your future intern goes back to the classroom. Midterms, finals, capstone projects, life gets busy. They start talking to their friends, their classmates, their peers, and they start hearing about other companies and other internship programs and other opportunities they did not even know about. Suddenly, there's a long stretch before day one where a lot can change. That's the stretch we're talking about today. And it's not just about staying in touch. Early career candidates need to feel confident, connected, and excited to show up and succeed when the role actually begins. So, before I move on and start sharing the framework, I have my first poll to launch. Let me get my cursor up. Launch poll. I'm curious for those in attendance today, how structured is your candidate engagement efforts today? That time between offer, acceptance, and day one. Is it very structured? Are there some touch points, but maybe a little inconsistent? Are you mostly manual? Are you more team, minimal, none, and you're here today to get new ideas? I'm seeing those poll results coming in. I'll make sure I can share it with you all as well. Looks like we have a really good mix. This is going to be a fun session. I love brainstorming. All right. Okay. Maybe one more second. There's no wrong answers. We just want to see where everybody is at so we make the best use of our time. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end the poll, share those results with you. So a good mix of very structured already, and I love to see that. For those of you on the call, like I'm hoping today, you're going to come out with some new ideas to incorporate. What I want you to keep in mind throughout is thinking about your current program and evaluating it against the framework I'm presenting. My big question, is your current strategy giving candidates what they need, or is it just another program you're managing? We'll talk about that today. For those with sort of the inconsistent, maybe a more manual process today, definitely hoping you're going to leave with a better understanding, not just what you could do, but why and how to get the most out of it. And for those of you with no engagement process, I'm definitely hoping to arm you with, why there is no better time to get started than now. So, moving on. Why? Why is this so important? Whew. Early career candidates are making a first time identity level decision. They are asking themselves, who am I professionally? They're not just choosing a job. They want to know, what kind of company am I joining? Will I be supported there? Will I know what I'm doing? Will I belong? And when there's a long stretch of silence, candidates tend to fill in the blanks themselves. That's where uncertainty starts to grow. They may still be excited, but they also start comparing. They notice who is communicating. They notice where they feel seen. And many of them, 73%, will keep passively looking even after they've already accepted. Now, quick timeout. What we are not talking about today, candidate engagement is not just about communication volume. It's about whether your process keeps reinforcing three things that this talent really needs. They need to be reminded, I made a good choice. These people, this organization is invested in me, and I can picture myself succeeding there. That's really why engagement after acceptance isn't just a nice to have. For those of you who don't have anything today, this is a way to protect your hiring plan. Next question. I want to post it in the chat. This is talking about data from NACE and talking about 8 months on average. Who's the average? What's the average for you all? Take a second in the chat. Let me know. What is your average gap today between offer acceptance and start date for your early career hires? And I'll pull up the chat so I can follow along. 4 to 6 months. Yep. Maybe not quite 8, but still significant. A bunch of 5 to 6 months, 5 months. Yeah. And I mean, I hope this is already resonating with you. There's these big gaps for these early career talent, and they're nervous. They don't know what to expect. And so that's where candidate engagement can differ between them and sort of a more senior or seasoned candidate. They need much more reassurance. And we're going to talk about ways we can do that today. Okay. Moving on. Okay. There is good news. And I alluded to it a little bit. The needs of early career talent are pretty clear. So your engagement strategy and what we're going to go over today is really about repeatedly sending three signals. You want the candidates to know you will grow here, you will be supported here, you will belong here. That's it. They need that reassurance. What you're not trying to do, you are not expected to be entertaining candidates for 8 months, 6 months, 5 months. That's not your job. You're trying to reduce uncertainty and build confidence in a repeatable way. So the framework I'm presenting today has three main parts, as you see. Events are structured to help candidates picture the people and the culture. Projects help them get a sense of the work and picture their own success. Email, it's the thing that keeps the whole thing connected and moving. I don't want you to think about candidate engagement as yet another program to run. What I'm hoping to share with you today, and you'll see in my next slides, I want you to think about this as a calendar that you can plan around, something that is repeatable, measurable, easy to scale with each new cohort, not more busy work for the sake of work. If you are just getting started and thinking about that whole, I can pull those results. For those of you just getting started, right? Or if you're just sort of unsure, like how can we change what we're doing today, or how can we get more out of it? I am going to talk a lot about how these projects, experiential learning component, can be a very impactful, easy to launch, especially in collaboration with Parker Dewey. But let me dive in and show you what this actually looks like across the months between acceptance and start. All right. So, example event plan. The goal with our framework is to make sure that every few weeks, candidates experience some kind of forward motion. Again, not volume, forward. Events do not need to be big productions with speakers and swag. It is great if your team has the bandwidth and resources to do that. Most of us don't. So instead, I want you to really focus on intention. Think about events as the human layer of your engagement strategy. What they really can do best is reduce anxiety, build belonging, make the culture feel real before day one. And a quick call out. We're talking today about engaging those candidates that have accepted your offer. You can also easily apply this framework to your runner-up, the finalists, those folks that you want to keep warm for future openings. Even high potential underclassmen, those that you want to nurture until they're eligible for your programs. Think about this as really a talent community playbook. It's one strategy, but there's three audiences, all with the same goal to keep the relationship real and active. So let's dive in another layer to these events. The idea here, thinking about forward momentum, the idea behind a monthly event plan is really to create small recommitments. A coffee chat can help remind a student, hey, I do see myself there. A buddy touch point, a social event, it reminds them, I won't be alone. Skills spotlight, readiness sessions, that helps them see, I'll be successful. The key here in everything I'm presenting today, keep it short, keep it interactive. That's going to allow you and your team to keep it repeatable. And I would say it is much more important to these candidates and easing their anxiety. It's much more important to offer the opportunities than it is for those moments to be perfect. So we all want to be perfect every day. It's okay. Be human, be real. This is the human layer of your engagement. After any event, however short, small, condensed, you want your candidates leaving thinking, wow, these seem like people I'm excited to work with. This seems like a team that I'm excited to join. I've got more content on events, but I want to keep us moving forward and we can circle back during the Q&A. Human layer, events, moving forward. Events are that connection. Projects are now all about building momentum. I say the word project. We can swap this out. We can talk about career readiness, a pre-internship or onboarding. Experiential learning is what we're talking about. And at the end of the day, this component of the framework is all about turning a waiting period for candidates into progress. One of the biggest mistakes I think we all make is thinking that engagement just means more messages. What we have seen year after year, hands-on learning at Parker Dewey, we refer to them as micro internships, but they get candidates doing something real. It's building their confidence and it's creating early wins. For your existing team, this should not, no experiential learning program. It's not just engagement for engagement's sake. Hiring managers want to participate when they get useful work done. Recruiting teams want to support you when they're getting clearer signals about who's leaning in. And everyone is excited about opportunities when there's a real sneak peek at early career candidates' skills like communication, collaboration, and follow through before day one. Projects should give your candidates the ability to say, I'm already contributing, I'm already learning, and I can picture myself doing this work. Again, I think I want to make clear what I am not talking about here is busy work. We've seen at Parker Dewey, micro internships can directly correlate to reduced renegs because they are replacing abstract excitement with real momentum. That's much more meaningful than another email check-in. Quick examples, and we'll dive in on the next slide too. This could be something as simple as asking a new sales intern, incoming sales intern, to do a short project researching a customer segment. Get them started thinking about the role. An engineering intern could help translate, a new feature into a talk track for sales. One of my favorite projects, I think about this as readiness projects we're going to discuss on the next slide, but it really works for any early career hire, regardless of role. Have them research a key industry challenge. Get them thinking about your industry, your customers, your solutions, and put together a short executive summary. That's going to get them excited and help them already thinking. So let me chat through more examples and logistics. Important, right? Whatever you do, just like events, experiential learning component of the framework should not take over your internal bandwidth. So please do pay attention to the guardrails that I've outlined here. Keep your projects short. Keep them relevant and keep them low lift for you and the candidate. Your real focus on an experiential learning component is focusing on the feedback. Feedback is what closes the loop for the candidate and really gives an experience its value. They are learning, they are growing, they are actively engaging. This is a good place for me to dive into Parker Dewey a little bit further. Through our platform, we help you turn an experience into something structured, trackable, and informative. We do this. We help you design short paid project opportunities. We help manage candidate invites and project payroll. And we help report out on those engagement signals. Who actually opted in? Who completed the work? What strengths showed up? What opportunities for additional coaching are already becoming visible so we can funnel those candidates into the correct learning and development? What we do not do. We don't replace any employer's internal ownership of a relationship. Your team still owns the relationship, the welcome, the culture, the manager responsiveness, the feedback experience itself, that overall sense of belonging. We make it something you can learn, scale, and repeat from. One small point on my slide might be tripping you up, and it's pay. This is something our platform fully manages. And yes, we are talking today about candidates who have not officially started yet. Pay can send two very important signals. Projects are paid because you are asking a candidate to step in and do real work. The real work is paid because you're literally invested in them. Not every candidate is going to participate, and that is true for our entire framework, events, emails. It's okay. Remember back, our goal with the engagement strategy is to lower uncertainty. There's real value just in making the ask. Would you be interested in doing a short readiness project? If they say yes, you're getting momentum, you're getting signals. If they say no, they're still hearing, we're invested in you, and we have a plan to make you successful. Moving forward to the third part of the framework, this is your automation layer. I want to emphasize again, shouldn't be your whole strategy. Email can be easy, but there's a few caveats I want you to think about. It should be, you should think about email as a way to keep your strategy moving forward. And a simple rule with emails that I like to suggest: one email, one purpose, one action. So the example sequence here, each message is designed to answer a different question that a candidate is already asking. What happens next? Who are these people? Where do I fit? How do I stay engaged? Can I picture success here? What do I need before I start? Answering their questions, alleviating that anxiety, that becomes a much stronger experience for a candidate than an information fire hose. And we're all guilty of turning on the information fire hose at times. So think about that. Think about the purpose of any communication you're sending. One email, one purpose, one action. What is their next step? Keeping them moving forward to day one. Another tip I can offer is something you can play around with is different senders. Maybe recruiting sends the initial timeline after that offer is accepted. A program manager can share more about the mission. Buddies can come in, they can talk about values, and recent interns can even share their own readiness tips. You write it all, but having those different senders can really resonate with your audience. And again, a bonus, these same emails can very easily be reworded for those runner-up finalist candidates, those high potential underclassmen. All of this can work collaboratively in the three parts to keep any type of candidate engaged. Phew, I powered through it. And now I'm going to open up really for questions and answers. I do have one more poll, and we can dive into any of the elements: events, projects, experiential learning, Parker Dewey's role, emails. But I want to emphasize what you get when you combine all three. This is why we're seeing the framework as powerful. The three components together really help to provide those signals like growth, guidance, and belonging. Candidates notice when there's silence. If some of this feels useful, but maybe bigger than what your team can launch right now, start with one role. Start with one small group of accepted candidates. You can give them one short project, offer one coffee chat to discuss the project and share feedback, and support it with a simple email cadence. Getting started small is going to give you enough data for your team to learn. It's enough for creating value both for them and your team. And it's enough to make that gap between acceptance and day one really feel productive instead of passing. And that's our goal here with this early career candidates. You spent so much time getting them into your funnel, getting them to say yes. Let's not leave them behind. Let's help them keep moving forward. Other couple of points to keep in mind, and then I'm going to launch this last poll and open up for questions. Again, it's not about more messages. It's about structured candidate engagement. We want to reduce uncertainty and ultimately protect your hiring plan. When you send a message to candidates, we keep showing up, it helps them see, I can show up. Candidate engagement can be viewed really as a risk control strategy, even a candidate confidence system, not just another program. And really, if there's any part of your strategy today, I know we had quite a few saying you've got quite a structured strategy already. If any one part is straying away from these goals, I think that's a great time to engage a partner to regain focus. I want you to ask yourself, is this touch point building confidence or just adding noise? All right, let me launch this final poll and we'll go to the interactive part. We'll brainstorm, we'll answer questions. My final poll for you. I am curious in knowing. Launch poll. If you're building an internal case, whether it's for revamping what you're already doing or getting started with something new, what data would you look at first? Is it renege rate? Are you seeing that creep up? Is it start rate? Students aren't coming up on day one. Intern to full-time conversion rate. Would you like to see more of those candidates that enter in summer still be engaged in the fall? Thinking about time cost, thinking about that day one readiness. Give it just a couple minutes. And then like I said, I want to open myself up and dive into whatever part of the framework you're most interested in. One of the things I think about as well is, again, you're all busy. You've got various things running. What's the biggest objection internally that you've heard to focusing more on this candidate engagement piece? And I'm opening that up to anyone in the chat. Looks like we have quite a few responses coming in. I can end the poll in just a minute if anybody else wants to reply and share those with you. Um, I'll tell you right now, I'm a little bit surprised that time and cost is one of the lower responses. I feel like that's so key to what we're doing, ROI. Everyone's always asking us to do more with less, but I get it. It's not necessarily the easiest thing to pool for all teams. But yeah, thinking about that accepted candidate start rate. You've got a great person that you've brought in and your team is focused on for weeks, if not months or years. You need to get them to show up on day one. And I hope some of these ideas are already spinning in your mind for how you can help push that forward. Again, that's the end of my presentation. Happy to dig into more specifics of any part of the framework, events, experiential learning, emails. I'm here to chat with you and how we've seen this boost that day one readiness, lower renege rates, and help teams move forward with keeping those candidates engaged. Okay, Ashley, you got it. Let's talk more about those coffee chats and other ideas. So my team's outlined a few ideas here, and maybe we'll bounce between a few of these slides. Um, but yeah, it could be the casual coffee chat. We think a lot about there's a lot of power between connecting previous interns with the next cohort. People love that. There's so much authenticity from learning from your peers. And I think something too, where the experiential learning piece comes in as well is, we sort of assume like, I don't want to overwhelm this candidate with too much about work. I want them to show up excited, not already overwhelmed. But students are asking to know more on how do my skills fit into an organization? What are some skills I can work on in the meantime between start date? And thinking about what's going to help me get ready. So that's a few of those ideas there. The other thing I like to think about, whether you're doing coffee chat, think about how each type of event you could host maps to a specific candidate need. I think coffee chats really help solve, that belonging and authenticity. Do people like me exist at this organization? It's a great way. It's easy, it's casual, bring people together. The skills spotlight, something like that, it can really help build their confidence and readiness. And it can be very as simple as talking about, here are our core skills that our team really values. When we talk about communication, we are talking about clear, written, oral, whatever that is. It can be pretty high level. It's helping them know, like I said, building their confidence. Casual social events, whether it's trivia, ask me anything, helps with that peer stickiness. Um, Ashley, I might turn it back to you since you're active with me in the chat. What are you measuring right now with your events? Are you looking at RSVP and show rate? Are you looking at next action? What do they do after that event? And are you doing any feedback on was this event helpful to them? Did it help them feel more prepared for day one? Waiting for questions. None of the above. Okay, okay, that's great. All right, I'm definitely gonna I'm gonna include that in my follow-up email, Ashley. I do think that that is something, whether it's in regards to internal buy-in and getting them to do more events, period, or whether it's just in sort of proving the value of candidate engagement. I would definitely recommend sort of tracking how many students RSVP to these events and how many show up. Again, think back to my early comment, just making the offer is really valuable for the students, even if you've got a low show rate. Thinking about active participation. I mean, I've got my Zoom webinar now. I can see how many people are participating in the poll. It's okay if not every student is fully engaged during the 30 minutes that you set aside, but it's going to show you signals on who has the most questions, who is kind of most excited. And it can also be an early warning sign of, this one didn't respond to our invite. This one didn't come to the events. We've offered them many different options. I'm worried that this candidate could be at risk. That can be your signal there. I do just like the emails, one email, one purpose, one action. Think about that for all of your ideas, whether it's events, whether it's, you know, experiential learning. What is that next step, that forward momentum that you want them to take away? And even just a quick poll, like a pulse point poll, asking them after this event, after this activity, do you feel a little more excited, ready, prepared for day one? Just get that pulse point and thinking about too, their main concerns. I'm anxious. I don't know if I'm going to fit here. I might not be sure exactly what I'm going to be doing when I start. You can tie any of your feedback surveys directly back to that as well. Did this help you feel more invested? Of course, Ashley. I'm open for more questions and discussion. I always have more ideas to share, and I can tell you how we're helping other employers keep their candidates warm. Or I can give you 20 minutes back in your day. And thank you again for joining me. I have a couple questions too for those of you still hanging out. Let me flip through my slides. Okay, Margie, you got time. I'm giving you a moment. While Margie's typing, and I see Jeffrey's got a question too, I'm gonna ask a question to those of you still here. I talked about what do you feel like might be the biggest objection internally for uh, launching a candidate engagement program or digging in further. I have another question too about what matters most for your stakeholders. You all told me you're going to look at that start rate. Are your stakeholders worried about reducing renegs? Are they worried about start date? You have complaints today about day one readiness, like for those hiring managers, for leadership, where are they having the most concern show up? And Jeffrey, yes, love the question. My team just finished up our annual student sentiment survey. We go out directly to students who are actively enrolled and going to be showing up on campus next fall and ask them, What do you really think about campus recruiting? Are you engaging with the employers you want to engage with? All that great stuff. And what we hear again and again, year after year, is these students are really hungry for hands-on learning. They really value opportunities to try it, show their skills, and more importantly, make a connection over something meaningful, not just, oh, we went to the same school, neat. They want to talk about the role. They want to understand the role. They want to understand where they can make the biggest impact. All right, Kathleen, I see your question. How easy is it to take all this on? What tools do you help make it easy? Great question. So, we are always happy to support the experiential learning component, and that is something specifically that our company, Parker Dewey, can help you with. Um, where we can help support you is both defining what is going to be a meaningful project for that student, what's going to be low lift for you and your team and for them, and what are some of the, HR payroll stuff that you don't have to figure out. We're doing all that. On top of that, we're collecting a really valuable data layer for you of your cohort. Again, think if maybe you're starting with one role or starting with one small, your incoming intern class. We're going to help you see you've made this offer, who's engaging, who's interested in something like this. We're going to show you who actually goes ahead and completes that project. What is their project output? Where do they need maybe a little more upskilling when they join day one? Where are they already standing out and shining? All of that data gets collected throughout the experience using Parker Dewey's platform and our feedback tool. With events, it can be very simple as a Zoom room. I do really want to focus on that idea of keep it simple. Don't worry too much about production value. Again, the students, they are coming to you because they want to lower their anxiety. They like when real people show up. They like when things get real. They like when they can see those things happening. And with emails too, as a third part of the strategy, it's keeping the momentum building. So I see a couple more questions coming in, and Kathleen, um, tools. The tools that our clients are using in combination with Parker Dewey and running a structured experiential learning short-term experience. They're using Zoom or other tools like that. They're using email providers, whether that's through their ATS or whether that's an independent one that they're using once they've had accepted offers. It is a mix. There isn't one specific right or wrong answer there. But the other feedback, going back to my earlier comment about our student sentiment survey that we do each year, students still read emails. And so I see now, Margie, your question was about the email. One purpose, one action. Guilty of the fire hydrant. We all are. I feel like I've fire hydrant a little bit on you today. So I'm just reading your comment. Gives an answer before the conversation actually starts to get the candidate more comfortable, since the normal routine and questions have already been answered. They're more relaxed and open for the remainder. I love that, Margie. I mean, they want real, right? They want to know what to expect. And so, yes, we are all guilty at many moments in time of the here's everything, good luck. I mean, even following up maybe a more technical, here's all your start dates, here's all your timelines. You could easily follow up with that email with a short kind of personal check-in afterwards. It can all be automated. Just saying, sent you a lot of information last week. Would love to know if you have specific questions. Something like that makes it real. It encourages them. This is a culture where we want you to ask questions. And if you don't have a culture and want them to ask questions, you can reframe that. You can say, sent you a long email last week. we need you to confirm that you read it. I mean, any of those points help them stay engaged. And again, you're going to see who's not engaging so that we can follow up and keep them on board. They might need more handholding. They might need more attention. Manga, I see your question went just to me. Definitely going to send out this recording. Um, More examples too. So, thinking about what would be a good project just to get st folks started, that experiential learning component. I always think about industry research. Maybe for your organization, it could be have a student research a public company, analyze its most recent um, accounting data that's available, right? Have the student incorporate their emerging professional opinion on what could possibly go wrong. Where are the risks for this company? What evidence they might want to see, and have them explain their reasoning and clarity. It's thinking about it as a way to introduce them to the role and a way to get them starting to think about your clients, your organization, your challenges that you solve. Happy to sit down too and brainstorm. I mean, I think some of the support that we are offering, and when I say start small, I really truly believe that. Whether you start with just one role or maybe a small cohort, we can help you figure out, based on the job description, based on your own existing internship program, what's that good sort of surface level? I don't like to say surface level. It's entry level, an entry level project where the students can start exercising their skills they're going to be using day in and day out, get a preview of the types of challenges and things you want them thinking about, and really just show up to hiring managers, to peers, and say, I'm already thinking about it this way. And as I talked about as well, get that feedback. That feedback is truly more important, I would say, than perhaps the project or the event itself. Making sure that they are getting their questions answered, their anxiety is being lowered, and any of those unknowns that are making them still, 73% of them still passively look for opportunities, making sure that they know this is a place where I'm going to be supported. Hope that helps. I can dive in further too. All right. Well, few of you still on the call. Like I said, happy to keep chatting and brainstorming. Otherwise, I will share this recording out. Um, and I hope this was helpful today. I hope it's given you some new things to think about. And again, for those of you who already have something pretty structured, my biggest kind of call out for you and your team is, are you creating noise or are you answering their questions? And I think we all, with the information fire hose, with the I need this, I need this, I need this, like we're all guilty of it. We're guilty of communicating with these early career candidates in what I need now. Let's pause and take a moment to make sure that they feel ready for day one, get them excited, and have their questions answered. At the end of the day, like that's really going to help with day one readiness overall. So thank you again for joining me today. I'll keep it open for a few more minutes. More positive, moving forward. Yeah, keep them moving. Love it. Okay, this is a bonus for the couple of you that are still on the call. This is my puppy Beavis. He's so cute. He says hi. He likes to keep candidates engaged too. I gotta go engage him with a walk. But thank you again for joining me this afternoon. I'm gonna follow up directly. You'll get an email from me with the slides and everything. Um, excited to keep the conversation going. Parker Dewey is someone who we're at the intersection of students, employers, and higher learning. We would love to help you in any way we can, even if it's just hopping on a call and brainstorming. And Beavis can help sometimes too. He's got a lot of opinions. All right. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you all.